Many people are asking themselves, will I actually be able to afford the retirement I've worked my whole life for? But what if the problem isn't your social security check? What if it's where you're planning to retire? If you're one of those Americans who are looking for more affordable countries to retire on social security and looking for options, this video is for you. If you looked at your estimated social security benefit and wondered, is this really enough? Enough to retire, enough to enjoy life, enough to stop worrying about money every single month, enough to get out of survival mode? For a lot of Americans, retirement is starting to feel less like a freedom and more like a math problem to solve. Housing keeps getting more expensive, healthcare keeps getting more expensive, groceries seems to cost more every week. And today I want to introduce you to a country that completely fits this bill. If you're looking to retire in an affordable country where US dollars can go farther and you can buy a lot more quality of life than you can on the same amount in the US, stay tuned. This country has excellent healthcare, great public transportation, amazing food, and a cost of living that in many cases is dramatically lower than what Americans are paying back home. This country is Malaysia. My husband and I spent months living there, and today I'm going to show exactly what it cost us and what kind of quality of life you can afford on your Social Security check. The average Social Security check an American gets is anywhere from $1,900 to $2,100 on average, might be less, a little bit more. So let's say on average, you get $1,900 a month. What kind of quality of life can you buy in Malaysia, and what would it look like? And why you should consider Malaysia as one of your retirement options if you're looking to retire just on Social Security. Then I'll break down the housing, food, transportation, healthcare, and by the end of this video, you'll have much better idea whether Malaysia belongs on your retirement shortlist. Quick disclaimer before we get started. Everything I'm sharing today is based on our own travel and experiences and expenses we personally tracked while living in Malaysia. This video is for educational purposes only, and it's not a financial advice. Always do your own research and consult a qualified financial professional before you're making any important decisions. So this is what we spent on accommodation, food, coffee, transportation, shopping, entertainment, phone, miscellaneous, and also medical. Most of my medical expenses I separated out because it was a one-time experience. But if you're going to live in Malaysia for long term, you might want to include the healthcare costs in this budget and estimate accordingly for your healthcare needs. If you want to see how much I spent on my emergency surgery in Malaysia, check out this video. Or I want to see how much a full body health screening cost in Kuala Lumpur. I made another video about that too. So feel free to check those out if you're interested in getting the details on those. But let's get back to retiring in Malaysia on Social Security alone. Now let's break down each category a little bit more because I think there's some important context behind those numbers. Housing, let's start with housing because most retirees, this is going to be your biggest monthly expense. And one thing that really impressed me about Malaysia, especially Kuala Lumpur, is that how modern the apartments were. Many apartments include things that would cost a premium back home. Most of the apartments have swimming pools, gyms, great amenities, security, beautiful common areas, co-working spaces, outdoor gardens, kids' play areas. Depending on where you choose to live, housing can be surprisingly affordable compared to many cities in the United States. This feels like a luxury without luxury price tag, honestly. In Kuala Lumpur, we had a rooftop pool at this apartment we stayed at, and the view was amazing. We could see the Petronas Tower, and there's hardly anybody at this pool or the Sky Garden. So for housing on average retirees, expats, you can expect to spend anywhere from $800 to $1,200 a month in Kuala Lumpur if you go some of the smaller places like Penang and some of the other expat spots, but they're a little bit more affordable and slower pace of life. Then you can pay a little bit less, especially if you sign long-term lease. And for food was another pleasant surprise. Next category, let's go over food and groceries. Everything is really convenient. In large cities, you can get Grab deliveries, or you can go to the Western supermarket or shop at a local market where the locals shop and things like that. And Malaysian food is very affordable. It's kind of a fusion between Chinese, Indian, and local Malay food all mixed together. So there's a lot of choices to choose from. It's kind of like a melting pot in Asia, so you get quite a bit of variety in Malaysia as far as food. But you can eat extremely well without spending tons of money. We also found plenty of Western restaurants whenever we wanted, some of the main chains, and even some that we don't have in the United States, like Western Sizzling and Toys R Us. So there were some chain retail and restaurants in Malaysia that You can hardly find them back in the States anymore. Next is transportation. If you're in major cities, public transportation system is great. You don't have to worry about a lot. Majority of the places were walkable, but there were certain places like certain areas and districts of Kuala Lumpur that are not super walkable or did not have public transportation. But Grab is so affordable and convenient to call. It's not a problem. If there's not a lot of places to walk or take public transportation, you can just call a Grab. I don't think you really need a car unless you're commuting from like IPA or somewhere to Kuala Lumpur and driving long distance back and forth, things like that. Hey, real quick before we continue, if you're enjoying this video and if you're an American looking to retire or slow travel the world in the next 2 to 5 years, go ahead and click subscribe so you don't miss videos like this and other resources that I produce based on our experiences of traveling through Southeast Asia, where you can live a much better quality of life and retire even on Social Security check alone. So let's get back to Malaysia. The next section is healthcare, and I have mentioned a couple of other videos I made about my healthcare experience in Malaysia. A lot of people seek out going to Malaysia for their great healthcare and convenience for private expat hospitals, that you can get a lot of medical procedures and routine health checkups on a very convenient basis and quickly without waiting months or years like in the US, and probably a fraction of the cost as if you were to pay in the US. What you pay out of pocket in Malaysia for a lot of these healthcare expenses might be even cheaper than your deductible in the US. The hospitals are modern, staff spoke excellent English, and the doctors were professional. Everything felt organized and efficient. If you're looking for a central place for your healthcare overseas while you're traveling or retired, Malaysia could be a great spot. You should definitely consider retiring in Malaysia or making it one of your routine spots so you can get your health checkups and things like that done on a regular basis. As far as pace of life, everyday lifestyle, Malaysia feels very comfortable. Modern shopping malls, great coffee shops, beautiful parks, fast internet, amazing condos with great amenities, high rises. Everything simply worked, and I didn't feel like I was sacrificing comfort just to save money. Who might not enjoy Malaysia? Well, not every country is perfect. Malaysia might not be best if you absolutely need 4 seasons, for example. You hate the heat and the humidity. If you want quiet rural life, or you want to be close enough to drive home and visit family regularly, obviously Malaysia is quite a bit far away for those kind of things. That's one reason I always encourage people to take a scouting trip before you make any major decisions or decide to just move there. Go and test it out yourself for a few weeks or months before you make a long-term decision. So if I had to rate Malaysia as a retirement destination, I think housing will definitely score 5 out of 5 stars. They have amazing amenities and housing. Even hotels are super cheap to stay. Watch out for my video that's coming up where I compare living in hotels in Malaysia versus a high-rise condo. I've stayed in both hotels and high-rise condo in Malaysia. They have amazing choices on lots of nice accommodations and housing. Healthcare is definitely 5 out of 5 stars. Again, like I said, there's a lot of people coming from other countries, as medical tourism is one of the number one product in Malaysia. And if you're seeking for a place with great healthcare, Malaysia is definitely one of your top choices. Now, food, still 5 out of 5 star. They have amazing food. Like I mentioned, the fusion between many different countries of food, mixing together. There's a lot of choices, even Western choices that you can get. Now, transportation is also 5 out of 5 star. There is public transportation in big cities, but then Grab Ride is also widely available. I've even traveled within Malaysia from city to city, in between cities on those long buses, and I have not had any problems with those. They were also very easy to navigate and transfer from city to city as well. Walkability, I'm going to give 4 out of 5 stars, mostly because there were some parts of Kuala Lumpur and other places that we visited, certain districts and locations they didn't have designated like sidewalks for pedestrians. So it was kind of hard to walk. You pretty much have to share the road with the cars. And that was a little bit a challenge. But majority of the time, there were sidewalks and designated places for people to walk and feel safe without feeling like you are intruding on, traffic that was meant for cars. Now, language difficulty, there is no language difficulty in Malaysia. And if you're looking for a place where everybody speaks English, Malaysia, they would definitely win in this category. So 5 out of 5 star for language. And overall value, I would still give Malaysia 5 out of 5 star. This is why if you're looking for a place to retire just on your Social Security, let's say 1,900 to 2,100 a month, that an average American gets, you should definitely consider Malaysia as top of your list. Maybe do a scouting trip and check it out for yourself. Do a short-term trip or long-term trip before you decide to move there, and check out the healthcare, check out the climate, the weather, the people, the culture. See if you can see yourself staying there long-term or traveling around visiting more often. Maybe make Malaysia one of your health hub if you're looking to start the slow travel lifestyle. I think Malaysia is one of the most underrated retirement destination in the world. A lot of people talk about Thailand, Vietnam, Mexico. There's for good reasons for those countries get mentioned a lot, but Malaysia is definitely a good contender for people who are looking to retire just on Social Security and get a great quality of life. So can Americans retire in Malaysia on Social Security? For many people, I think the answer is yes, but don't just look for the cheapest country. Look for the country where you can build a life and you'll actually enjoy. And if you go and see Malaysia and if you don't like it for whatever reason, then obviously don't choose Malaysia. But you should definitely test it out. Go visit Malaysia, see for yourself, and maybe you will fall in love with it. Maybe you won't like it. Be like, okay, I don't want to live here. Maybe I'll just visit every 6 months or so for healthcare reasons or whatever. Then that's up to you. If you're planning to retire and slow travel the world sometime in the next 2 to 5 years, I would love to have you join our community. Go ahead and click subscribe. If you want to get my free retirement travel readiness checklist, check that out in the video description and feel free to download it for free, just so you know, hey, these are all the things I have in place before I take off from the United States and start this amazing adventure. And there might be some things you haven't even thought about, so you want to check that checklist out, see how ready you are for this retirement travel lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.